Before we begin, I want to give a gentle content warning. This story includes references to childhood, sexual trauma, and family shame. If you've experienced similar pain, please take a moment to ground yourself before listening and remember that your healing matters and it's okay to pause or come back when you feel ready. This space is not about reliving trauma. It's about reclaiming my voice, my body, and my light. Please listen with care, compassion, and an open heart. So, being the youngest, the baby girl, often came with a lot of harsh corrections. I was told to shut up a lot. I was often accused of being too grown and told I talked too much, which I did talk a lot, but still. In my family, being too grown could mean anything, literally anything. Speaking up when adults were talking, you was being too grown. Looking at an elder in the eye for too long, you was being too grown. Or asking too many questions, you were being too grown. So I learned quickly to keep my curiosities to myself. One moment that stands out is I was at my Aunt Shara's house. She's my mom's older sister, and she had just finished braiding my hair and some cold ass cornrows. Like, they was dope. My auntie was the braider of the family, so she did all the nieces and auntie's hair. So I would be over her house at least twice a month getting my hair done, once or twice a month getting my hair done, getting it braided up. So one time when she was done doing my hair, I ran over to the mirror. She had this really big mirror leaning up against her bedroom wall, up against her closet. And I'm looking in the mirror and I'm turning my head from side to side, checking out my braids, feeling myself. And before I could fully get into it, she just immediately started like snapping on me. I remember her saying, "Get out that mirror, little girl. You being too vain." And I was like, okay, confused, but I went ahead and hurried my butt up out that mirror because that was my auntie and I was going to listen. That's what we were taught to do. So it just was weird to me because I'm like, I'm just trying to look at myself. I'm just trying to check out my new hairstyle, but that was considered being too grown. So a few days after that, I remember it being Christmas and we went to visit my mom's husband's mother's house for Christmas that year. And we were getting out the car, getting ready to walk in the house, and my braids were still really tight. So I had my neck extended, like trying to give myself some tension from the braids. Some release from the tension from the braids. And my sister, she was just like, "Stick your head in, little girl, we see you." And I got aggravated. I remember feeling aggravated, and I was getting ready to respond and be like, "I'm not trying to be seen. My neck hurt, from my braids." I remember that's what I was getting ready to say. But before I can even get that out, my mom jumped in and was like, "Oh, you know how she act when she get her hair done." And they started laughing. And I was just like, dang, what's the point in me even trying to say something back to her if mama didn't basically pick the side? She agreed. She think I'm trying to do too much too. She think I'm trying to be seen too. So we went ahead and went in and had Christmas, and my head was tight the whole time, scalp screaming, you hear me? And I remember consciously thinking every time that I felt myself sticking my neck out to give myself that relief from that pain, I forced myself to pull my head back in and just deal with the pain so they wouldn't think that I was trying to do too much, think I was trying to be too cute, think I was trying to be seen. Because remember, all of those things led back to me trying to be too grown. So that was always the thing that I was trying to avoid, because that's what I was always told: "You too grown, you talk too much." So I just ate it. I just dealt with it. Which is sad, because now, since I've been doing my shadow work, I learned that those are the moments that taught me how to little my big, how to shrink myself and, not put my full effort into, how I look, and dimming my light, so I won't shine too bright or outshine nobody. That's when I started kind of smalling my big. Which brings me back to visiting my Aunt Shara's house. A lot of times, me and my cousin Buddy, I mentioned in previous videos that me and him were like more brother and sister than cousins because we were so close in age. But anyway, me and him, like when the aunties would like get me, they would get him. And so if I was going over Auntie Shara's house, he was going over Auntie Shara's house. If I was going over a different auntie house, he was going with me. That's what we did, So this particular time we was over Auntie Shara's house. I don't know if I was getting my hair braided this time or not, but her older son, she had a son and a daughter that were both teenagers. And I remember they used to have me and Buddy come upstairs, and the son would pull me in one room and the daughter would pull Buddy in another room. Now I can't confirm or deny anything that happened with Buddy in that other room, but I know what went down with me is when he would get me in there, he would it would normally start off with us playing some type of game or him putting something on the TV and, oh, let's play house or something like that. And it would always end up with, and this is the trigger warning part, but, so if you need to pause or step away, go ahead. But it will always end up with him, fondling me. And I don't know how far I can go on this app. So, he never went all the way full on with me, but he went far enough to where he was touching under my underwear, and it was confusing. It was confusing, and he told me not to tell anyone, of course, and that I would get in so much trouble. And I don't even know why I didn't listen, because what my mom did do is talk to us about, like, if anybody ever touch y'all, let me know. And I just didn't, because it was something scary about him saying I was going to get in trouble. And then on top of everybody always telling me that I'm acting too grown and being too grown, it's like, no, I don't want to get in trouble for that. So after some time went by, a few months of this going on, eventually me and my cousin Buddy became curious and we started touching one another, and we were doing that in my granny house, upstairs in Buddy's room, because remember, he stayed with my granny because my aunt had passed. So we were up in his room one day, and I forget who walked in. I honestly don't remember. But what I do remember is they, of course, told my mom, and my mom came over and basically was yelling at us. She whooped us and pretty much told the whole family what happened. And it just was like a shame ritual, a humiliation ritual. That's what it felt like, because she had told the whole family, all the cousins knew, all the aunties knew. So every time someone would see us, they would say something slick or try to discipline us, or, our cousins would make like nasty comments about us and all that. Everybody shamed us, but nobody ever sat us down to ask us, when you start doing it and why? Nobody ever asked us, why did we start doing that? So we just wore that shame. And from that point forward, I was title fast and never was able to shake that title. I was title fast from that point forward. It wasn't nothing I can do to get that scarlet letter off my back. So from this point in my life, I learned to make myself small so others would be more comfortable. I learned to not to try to be too cute or to over glamorize myself. And I learned to not speak up for myself, because even though my mom had told me, if somebody touches you, let me know, I was also told not to speak up because that's being too grown. So that left me confused. And, I became skilled at shrinking myself. I became skilled at silencing myself. And I also became skilled at dimming my own light so no one else felt uneasy around it. It took years to understand that what happened to me wasn't my fault, that I was a child, that silence only protects pain and not peace. But today, I no longer shrink to fit the comfort of others. I just don't. I don't care how uncomfortable or awkward the situation gets. We both gonna be uncomfortable and awkward, because I'm not shrinking no more. I no longer apologize for being seen and heard. You're going to hear what I have to say. And if you don't want to see me, close your eyes. And my voice is my medicine, and speaking is my truth and my liberation. So that's why I hold that so sacred. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm going to say what I have to say, because I won't be silenced anymore. I know that my voice and my story holds power and strength. So as always, before wrapping up, I'm going to leave you with a few affirmations. My voice is sacred. I am worthy of being heard. I release the weight of silence. I honor the courage it takes to speak. I am free to tell my truth in my own time and in my own way. If anything about my story touched something inside of you, or even if the affirmations resonated with you, I invite you to sit with both the Survivor's Meditation and the Take Up Space Meditation. One or both of them may be for you. Together, they are a ritual of reclamation. One helps you find your voice, and the other one teaches you to let it echo. Because you deserve to be heard, you deserve to take up space, and you deserve peace that speaks. Until next time, stay divinely guided. Thank you.